What's going on, folks? So, most people wait till they see some people coming on their live videos, or in this case, I'm recording on YouTube as well. Let's just talk about some basic nutrition. We're not going to get into big arguments. We're not going to say which diet's the best diet to have. There's all the different diets out there that people are going, this is a fad diet, this is that diet. And you know what? It's not about arguing. It's just about getting real nutrition in your system and eating correctly. I'm going to show some things tonight that are from a couple different companies I like, and it helps with my nutrition because just like a lot of people, I don't eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. I don't care for them. It's just not my thing. And I've found over the years, especially with my epilepsy, that eating more a meat-based diet for me personally is what works best for me. And when it comes to meat-based diets, I'm talking a fatty diet, and there's times where I'm strict carnivore. And you know what? Going the strict carnivore way has worked for me, and it may or may not work for you. And depending on your medical condition, I always recommend to check with your doctor, because none of what I'm saying here tonight is recommended to be as medical advice. It's not recommended to be, this is how it should be. This is not a diagnosis. This isn't a treatment. So please don't take it as such. This is just my experiences, my stories. Now, I got to get that out of the way because that's my disclaimer. Now, simple things. First things first is eating protein. And where whey protein comes in handy on occasion, like especially right after a workout or even before a workout. When it comes to nutrition, eat real food, real meat. U.S. Wellness Meats, they're great. This is a company I love to order because it ships right to the door. It's grass-fed, grass-finished meat, and you can get it in a variety of different amounts of fat. This particular meat is 25% fat, which goes a long way. But that also comes down to how you cook it, because you could cook it super well done and you render all the fat off, losing out the purpose. Now you could also do something like cook up with some seasonings, cook it in a pan where you keep all the fat. That's how you get the benefits, because believe it or not, there's a lot of nutrients within fats. And if you want to go even further, there's essential amino acids, there's essential fatty acids. There is no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. Your body can make its own carbohydrates as necessary depending on what you're doing. And so for all the people out there that say you have to have pasta, you have to have rice, you have to have beans, they don't know the science behind how the body actually works. Straight up, simple. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no arguing on it. That being said, me being epileptic, going the high fatty works for me. Now, doing that, there's something that also is really critical, and that's electrolytes. And when I'm talking about electrolytes, it's potassium, magnesium, sodium. The average doctor is saying keep your sodium really low. Is that actually going to do something for you? It's going to cause you to get cramped. It's going to cause you not to feel great. Great company, another great company out there I love to use is Element. You might have heard of Rob Wolf and the guys from Keto Gains. They're the ones that got behind that and got that started. I average 5 grams of sodium a day, even 6-7 grams of sodium depending on how hard I'm working out. And there's other electrolytes out there, but I like these guys the best because it's the simplest, minimal ingredients, and the citrus salt tastes like a margarita. Okay, there's no tequila. I can't drink, but that's another story. And we're going to work our way down the line of these things. And one of the most critical things in the world for your system, this is another great company, Natural Calm, magnesium. Too much of it can cause issues for you. I'll admit it. Too much of anything can cause issues. Too much magnesium, you better be close to a toilet. We all poop, we all do it, so get over it. Now, magnesium, you got to remember, is responsible for 600 to 1,000 plus different chemical reactions within your body. Not enough of it, the body's not going to be working too well. So there's some things to think about for that. If you're looking into doing the ketogenic diet and stuff like that, and you're just starting off, electrolytes are absolutely critical, as your body's going to be dumping a lot of water, and along with a lot of water, you're going to be dumping a lot of sodium. And without that extra sodium in there, your body's going to go down, and you're going to feel like crap. You're going to get the quote-unquote keto flu. You're going to feel like crap. You can do things like use base ketone salts, which come in capsules, or you can get a fancy chocolate powder flavor like this one. Again, these are just products I use randomly depending on what it is and what I'm looking at doing. I use exogenous ketones, which is what that's called. Exogenous ketones coming outside the body into the body. I use that for pre-workouts, especially when you get up at 4:30 in the morning and you need a boost of energy. Some of that will definitely get you going. And then there's a couple other things. There's nutrients. Yes, grass-fed meats and getting grass-fed and grass-finished organs and all that. Great way to get nutrients, and you can pretty much supplement with that and get all the nutrients you need for a daily diet. Conventional wisdom says, well, that's not what my doctor says. Now, speaking of doctors and when it comes to nutrition, you need to keep in mind the vast majority of doctors, not all doctors, but the vast majority of doctors have less than a semester's worth of nutrition training. And that was back when they were back in medical school. So whether they retain any of that, I don't know. But I know a lot of doctors that come up with some things that it really doesn't do squat. And it's a load of BS that they come up with. And I'm tired of it because I spent the last several years since I was diagnosed with epilepsy researching every pathway possible to get out of these seizures. Medication resistant doesn't work for me, so medication's off the board. Yes, I've done the CBD and done the medical marijuana thing. Slowed things down, didn't stop my seizures. Diet nutrition was the number one thing that was critical. And it slowed things down to a point where I could actually function. And when it comes to nutrition, especially if you're doing micronutrition supplementation, aka multivitamins, and breaking those down even further into individual little nutrients, timing is everything. There's some nutrients that do better in the morning. There's some nutrients that do better in the evening. I can go into further detail if you want to know more about that. Hit me up on a message. I'll be happy to go over that information with you as far as how to figure that out. One thing that also works for me is green mixes. This is my favorite one, Optic Greens. There's also the famous Athletic Greens that's been out for a while. Personally, I like the flavor of the Optic Greens a little bit better, and it does my system better as far as like no issues. Those are the basic little things that I take care of in my system. And as I mentioned, this is like basic nutrition. Really simple, straightforward things. There's people out there on transplant lists. There's people out there with diabetes. People out there with numerous medical conditions I cannot answer for because I am not a medical doctor. I can give you the basics on nutrition, and I can explain the basics on nutrition. But I always say, take that information, bring it to the doctor, see if it matches with your medications. If it doesn't match with your medications, don't do it. Simple, straightforward. Listen to your doctors. While they might not know a lot about nutrition, when it comes to the medication side of things, they know more than I will ever know. So, that being said and done, I just wanted to bring that forward. And when it comes to things like omega-3s and stuff like that, keep in mind the longer the capsule's been sitting on the shelf, the more chances it's going to be rancid. And if you're buying one of those big mega jars from Costco or something like that, that's sitting in a clear jug, the light and everything else that's been bouncing off that thing for God knows how many months that's been sitting on the shelf, pretty much rendered it useless, and it could technically cause some bad things for you. Keep that in mind with your nutrients. Keep an idea on how long they've been around. All those things matter. It's just like you wouldn't eat some lettuce or spinach that's been in your fridge for 3-4 weeks. It's gonna look pretty funky, and those nutrients, they get depleted pretty quickly. So the fresher they are, the better they are. More things to think about. So I didn't want to go off on a long tangent, long rant. Other things I'm going to probably go into is hydration. And again, that'll come back to electrolytes, salt, potassium, magnesium, calcium, some of the things you need in your system on a daily basis. They say you should drink half your body weight in water in ounces. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you should drink 100 ounces of water. I personally believe you should drink more than that. I drink 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons of water a day minimum. I've never had an issue with it. Yes, you can get to a point where if you put too much water in and you're not putting enough electrolytes in, you can get a systematic thing called hyponatremia, which just means your salt levels dropped to the point where your body's not functioning, and that can cause really bad situations. So get your electrolytes in. Don't drink to the point where you feel like you're going to explode. Your body's pretty smart on where it tells you where to stop. So, the way I got the camera set up, I can't see any comments or anything, so I apologize for that. If you do have any questions, feel free to hit me up on the messenger side of things. I will be glad to talk to anybody about anything. And again, this is just my take on nutrition. This is my take on how I roll with things. I live about 80 to 90% carnivore. It's what works for me. It makes my life simple. Can it get boring? Yes, but you know what? I mix things up, add different meats, different cuts of meats, throw in some organ meats. It's an acquired taste, but it gets a heck of a lot of nutrition real quick. And live life. Remember to move. That's the last thing I'm going to say. Remember to move. Give yourself an hour a day to move. I just started a challenge. You can find it off of my page. It's called the 30 Days to Better. And I'm actually kicking it off tomorrow morning. And it's very basic exercises. Very simple. Again, it's just to encourage people to move more. We're way too sedentary. We sit around doing nothing. So many people are nowadays lucky if they get an hour of movement a week, which is unfortunately very true. So, all said and done, get out and move, eat real whole foods. If you're buying a box of something and it has an ingredient list, that is not real food. There's food called steak, chicken, vegetables, fruit. That's real food. High C is not real food. Coca-Cola is not real food. Most pasta is not a real food. Macaroni and cheese sure as heck isn't real food. Doritos sure as heck isn't real food. Ho-Hos. Oh, hell heck no, Ho-Ho is real food. Cheap as all heck? Yes. But you know what that's going to do to your internal system? There's so many things out there nowadays that you can get mail ordered that ship right to your door, like U.S. Wellness Meats, for example, Butcher Box, high quality meats right to your door, no problem. There's even meal prep companies like Trifecta Nutrition. None of these people I'm sponsored by. None of these people I have any financial behind. Trifecta Nutrition, you get a whole meal plan. You can get all organic stuff shipped right to your door. You don't even have to do anything. You just take it, throw it back in the freezer, or in your fridge. You don't even have to worry about meal prepping. Just take it, throw it in the microwave, bam, you're good to go. So think about that. If you can, do all your meal prepping yourself. then look at doing meal prepping companies. And we're going to leave that off. Just keep in mind there's two main things: essential amino acids, essential fatty acids. There's no such thing as essential carbohydrates. Never have been, never will be. Your body knows how to take the glycerol from fats, amino acids, break it down into what's called gluconeogenesis, create sugar, and it'll feed whatever it needs to feed, and it'll take it from there. And I'll just leave it at that. All right? Everybody have a great night and have a great one. Much love.